Because a lot of us don't want to be called tribalists, not that you are in the sense of being a racist or being a bigot, but because you don't want to sound like that or you don't want to be labeled that, we then go to this very funny space where we downplay our heritage in order to sound politically correct. One of such people who I am actually ashamed of, but since I don't know him, I'm not sure it's going to affect him that much. But any sensible person, including his parents, should be ashamed that they raised a person to think like this. You have to hate yourself to get to the point of talking about Yoruba heritage with. It's almost as if you are apologizing. You're apologizing. You're trying to. May not be like say I did say something. May not be like say I go hate you. May not be like say I want to play you something from a person who I'm actually is Yoruba. I'll tell you about folks who used to think like him before now and where they are at the moment. Take a listen to this.
Lagos is no man's land. No. Anybody can. Lagos is for the taking of anyone.
Lagos is for the enterprising. Lagos is for the commercial. The people who found.
So you might be Lagos an Igbo man as long as you're enterprising. People. So an Uche Okafor can be the House of Reps member of Lagos in
Lagos was welcomed. Lagos was welcomed.
In
Lagos was named. Lagos was named Lagos by the Portuguese. The Portuguese came to buy slaves in Lagos.
So you're saying that it was okay. I'm saying that anyone from anywhere around the country can run it.
I'm saying what gives Lagos that brand is the fact that Lagos is a commercial state.
So Echukudi can run Lagos, right, as a governor?
I don't have a problem with Echukudi running Lagos State. I honestly do not have a problem with it. As long as, certain things are also put in place, you understand, to protect the interest of the indigenous people of Lagos State. Again, for me, it's not just, Lagos is not, you don't just come and say, oh, it belongs to this ethnicity or it belongs to that ethnicity. I don't think in terms of such prisms.
Is Lagos a Yoruba land in your own
I don't think in terms of such prisms. Lagos historically is Yoruba land. But Lagos over the years has gone through several revolutions. Lagos is also undergoing an evolution now. Now, the rights of the indigenous people of Lagos will always be enshrined, must always be enshrined. But we must also understand that Lagos is no longer, it no longer just belongs to Lagosians. Look.
A Yoruba person actually opens his mouth and says the foundation of Lagos was when it was named by the Portuguese. Parents all over the world, especially if you're a Yoruba parent, please help the next generation. You cannot bring stupidity into this world. Or if you give birth to children, please, let's raise them properly. Let's raise them to love themselves. Let's raise them not to appreciate self-deprecation. Let's raise them to be able to stand up for themselves and say what is right. Let's raise them to be compassionate, but also understand the concept of self-preservation. Right? Does Lagos belong to the people? You say no, it belongs to the enterprising. Is it a market? Is it a marketplace? It belongs to the enterprising. You know how dumb that sounds? Who owns this town? It belongs to the enterprising. If you can sell and buy and sell, you have a place in the town. Because apparently the Oja Oyingbo is the definition of what Lagos is. Just come and buy and sell. You know what? I'm going to play a longer version of this because there's some other things that he said that I think you should hear before I respond so that I can put everything together. Take a listen to Omashio. Well, let's just listen, please.
Growing tension politically in Lagos about this issue of indigenship and those who think that Lagos is a no man's land. You're a Lagosian, isn't it?
I'm from Osun State, but I've lived all my life in Lagos. I was born in Lagos State, and
so you're one of those people who believe that Lagos is the no man's land.
No, I think there are people who are indigenous to Lagos, and I also think that Lagos is the commercial center of Nigeria, and for you to be the commercial center of Nigeria, it means Lagos belongs to the enterprising. Lagos belongs to the commercial. The history of Lagos is that in the 18th century, the Portuguese came into Lagos. They were the ones who named Lagos. They came into Lagos for commerce. Okay.
I can't stand this stupidity. The Portuguese did not even come in the 18th century. They came in the 15th century. But again, if you don't have sense like that, it's easy to see. If you are looking at the history of Lagos beginning in the 18th century, do you know how ridiculously stupid a person can be to think that the history of Lagos begins in the 18th century? Even if you take it back to the 15th century, it's still stupid to think that way. There was a thriving trading hub in Lagos as at the 13th century. Sorry, at the 1300s, that's the 14th century. The Portuguese came in the 15th century. As at the 14th century, people were trading from, they will come from Edo, the Laje people were there, the Shekiri people, of course, will be there. Different groups were trading. It was already a trading hub, the Jebu. But that does not mean that it's the trade that makes the city. In other words, there is no city, it's just a place it's just a marketplace. And to always connect Lagos because the name is Lagos, like how dumb are people? So if, for instance, if you go to a particular place now and you name, let's say you have a street now, you now name this something, it means that that place does not exist until you named it. And whatever it became after you named it is actually the real history of that place. This is a Yoruba person. That's what makes it even more painful. To make it worse, is from Osun State. How can you be like this? And this is what you get from being, I'm sophisticated. I don't want to be a bigot. Again, no, but I don't. Why should I want to be a bigot? But also, you don't want to be a sissy. Where your definition of fairness is that you become a mop that people can just use on the floor because you want to be fair to everybody. Anyway, if you can stand it, I think I'm going to stand as well. That's the word, a pushover. Let's just listen to a few more things and we'll see how we can respond. By the way, this person works with Atiku Abubakar and supports GRV. But again, no surprises there. Take a listen. Let's continue listening.
And I also think that Lagos is the commercial center of Nigeria. And for you to be the commercial center of Nigeria, it means Lagos belongs to the enterprising. Lagos belongs to the commercial. The history of Lagos is that in the 18th century, the Portuguese came into Lagos. They were the ones who named Lagos. They came into Lagos for commerce. Okay, commerce has always been the center point of Lagos. So if you are not adding value to the state, then there's a problem. So commerce, enterprise, business, that's what Lagos is about. It's just unfortunate to me that successive governors since 1999 in Lagos State are people who have never managed business for one day in their lives before.
What do you mean?
All of them. But no business.
But his
businesses came after.
He's been in a private sector.
He was a private sector. He was working for someone. He never managed a business as an entrepreneur. And this is somebody who is managing an entrepreneurial state. The same thing with Raji Fashola. With all due respect to him, he was also, from employment with a law firm. He had never known what it was to pay salaries, never known. And that's why these guys go around destroying small businesses all over Lagos. You see an Okada rider and the first thing that comes to your head is to destroy his Okada. You see somebody trying to sell something by the roadside. First thing that comes to your head is destroy the stall. Imagine an entrepreneurial governor governing Lagos State. That person will look at the stall and think, how can I create a night market?
Who is an entrepreneurial candidate?
Well, I think there are several. I could put names forward. Gbadebo Revival, I think, is an entrepreneurial candidate. I think that's someone who understands the mentality of Lagos, understands the heartbeat of Lagos. I look forward to having him as a candidate, possibly, if the primaries go well within the ADC. That might be showing my hand too early, but that's my personal opinion, not the opinion of the Atiku campaign anyway. I'm just saying that Gbadebo is my friend. I think he understands. We've discussed these ideas. I think, we should have that. But Lagos deserves a governor that understands the spirit of Lagos.
Lagos is no man's land. No. Anybody can. Lagos is for the taking of anyone.
Lagos is for the enterprising. Lagos is for the commercial. The people who found.
So you might be Lagos an Igbo man, as long as you're enterprising. People. So Uche Okafor can be the House of Reps member of Lagos in
Lagos was welcomed. Lagos was welcomed.
In
Lagos was named. Lagos was named Lagos by the Portuguese. The Portuguese came to buy slaves in Lagos.
So you're saying that it was okay. It's okay that anyone from anywhere around the country can run it.
I'm saying what gives Lagos that brand is the fact that Lagos is a commercial state.
So Echukudi can run Lagos, right, as a governor.
I don't have a problem with Echukwudi running Lagos State. I honestly do not have a problem with it, as long as certain things are also put in place. You understand, to protect the interest of the indigenous people of Lagos State. Again, for me, it's not just Lagos. Is not, you don't just come and say, oh, it belongs to this ethnicity or it belongs to that ethnicity. I don't think in terms of such.
Is Lagos a Yoruba land in your own
I don't
view?
think in terms of such prisms. Lagos historically is Yoruba land. But Lagos over the years has gone through several revolutions. Lagos is also undergoing an evolution now. Now, the rights of the indigenous people of Lagos will always be enshrined, must always be enshrined. But we must also understand that Lagos is no longer, it no longer just belongs to Lagosians. Look, there was a point in time in the world where Saudi Arabia was the center of the world. Okay, if you're a musician, if you're an artist, if you're a magician, you wanted to perform in Saudi Arabia. Was a time, or up till now, where America is the center of the world. If you haven't performed at certain locations in America, if you haven't fought as a boxer, if you haven't fought as a wrestler in certain locations in America, you can't be considered to be at the art of your craft. If Lagos wants to be the center of Nigeria, then Lagos must be willing to welcome people. So I don't mind who is governor of Lagos, as long as that person is commercially driven, that person is entrepreneurially driven.
Where do we even begin? Where do we begin? This is not about this young man. It's about the mindset. Towards the end, it says, if Lagos wants to be the center, Lagos has to be open and accommodating. How else do you open up a place to your law? How else do you open up a place? How? It's like, you are open. They now say you got to open. Okay, so what do I need to do to show that I am open as a Lagosian? 1951, Zik won a seat in Lagos to represent that part of Lagos in Ibadan, regional parliament. Zik was in Ibadan, acting as the opposition against Action Group in the parliament. I'm talking 1951. What exactly do you have to do to be considered open enough? This same Lagos, we've had Rita Oji, who was House of Reps, Ajeromi Ifelodun constituency. We've had Jude Idimogu, who is also Igbo and represented Lagos House of was at Lagos House of Assembly representing Oshodi Solo 2. We've had Atta Achieve, who is right now in the House of Reps in representing Etiosa. We've had Tony Ungulu, who represented Oshodi Solo 2 at the House of Reps. None of these people I mentioned, they're not even Yoruba, let alone Lagos or Lagosians. So how else do you open up your place when you've had non-indigenous, non-Yoruba in the House of Assembly, in the House of Reps, representing Lagos? And it's also difficult for you to be able to tell me right now, if I can't even tell you what many of them did for Lagos while they were representing Lagos. But for a place where you have had Igbos representing parts of Lagos since 1951, how else do you open up Lagos? That's the question I have. When you say it has to be, if you want to be commercial, it's already commercial. It was commercial before Nigeria. It was commercial before the British, before the Portuguese. So the question is, what does Lagos have to do in order to be seen as open? There are people from different ethnicity trading in Lagos, selling in Lagos, buying in Lagos, living in Lagos, working in Lagos. None of them has any issues with the way things are. Only one. And you think the problem is Lagos or the people that are speaking up in Lagos. And I've seen some Yoruba people, some of them who are supposed to be so-called educated people, bunch of clowns who just have nothing but degrees, are not able to actually think about what they are saying. One posted earlier, he has deleted it, saying that instead of us to be talking about how to make Lagos critical, we're talking about 1950. I'm like, how do you talk like this? How are you so unaware? If you say now Lagos doesn't allow people, as nobody has ever represented Lagos who was not Yoruba, who was not Lagosian, nobody has ever been allowed to sell there is no non-Lagosian heading markets in Lagos, which will stop. If you tell me now that only Lagosians head markets in Lagos, they're not open, no. They don't rent shops to people. They're not open, no. They don't rent houses to people from my place. They're not open, no. They are always against us. They're not open, no. But the point is, you look through history, way before independence, your people of different ethnicities have had stakes, have been allowed to even represent the space. So what else do you want? Then the clown said that the Portuguese named Lagos, it was just because I go to, so for instance, let's say I come to your place now. Your place, I don't know, your place means something. And I say, this place looks like my own, it looks like Ile-Ife. I'm going to call it Ile-Ife. Does that mean that I'm the one who created that place as a commercial center? In other words, Mongo Park discovered River Niger. You see this colonial mentality. The Portuguese founded Lagos because Mongo Park discovered River Niger, because apparently nobody knew River Niger existed here until he had to travel all the way from Europe to show us that, hey, listen guys, I've discovered it. Then he says that Lagos belongs to the enterprising, and that Tinubu was not enterprising. Fashola, with all due respect, according to him, that's what he says. Fashola, with all due respect, he just came from Chambers. He has no enterprising. So I was like, you know what? May not be like say with a doubt him. More even wait for him. Who is your definition of enterprising governor? He now mentioned GRV. Says his friend. GRV is the end. We have a prayer point as Yoruba people, regardless of your religion. There's a prayer point you need to pray for Yoruba people, that we're going to have less and less of minds like this. We're going to have them about less and less of minds like this. That the definition of an enterprising, I'm laughing because I'm even trying to say, okay, so what's the entrepreneurship or the entrepreneurial adventure that this person has had better than the past present governor of Lagos? I'm wondering what makes GRV enterprising again, please? The fact that I said doesn't think in Yoruba. See, there are things I want to say. I'll just put it this way. I found that nonsense that clown wrote. It says, when we are discussing the things NCNC AG discussed in the 1950s, when it comes to Lagos in 2025, some things never change. You want all the benefits that come with a cosmopolitan city, but not the diversity that comes with its political leadership. There's a lesson in London, NYC. Let me say something. London, NYC that we use is like we're not thinking. England colonized different parts of the world. Those people went into England and became English citizens or British citizens, right? You now have Sadiq Khan, who is the mayor of London. Oh, praise God. Here's the question you should be asking yourself. Did I colonize your father? Did my parents colonize your people? What's all this thing about? Let's go to London, New York. Let's go to Dubai. Let's go to Moscow. Let's go to Seoul in South Korea. Let's go to Kuala Lumpur. Because not be London and NYC alone exist for the world. And my question is, if Yoruba people have had relationship with outside people for centuries and we've not had this issue of people just bickering and crying like bush babies over what doesn't belong to their parents, we've had relationship with people from Borno. Many of them have become citizens in Lagos, so not even citizens, indigenous of Yoruba land today. How come it's only one group that is just crying, and they've been crying like this since the 1940s? The first person who made that statement, Lagos is no man's land, was Jaja Wachuku, and it was in 1947. The second time it was made was in 1950, and it was made by the entire delegation of the Eastern region. If you are Yoruba, and you're wondering why are people pushing back, maybe I should advise you to do one thing. Please go to Port Harcourt. Or maybe you are not in the country. Go online. Study what happened in Port Harcourt and ask yourself, why are folks in Port Harcourt, why are the Kwere people pushing back so hard? Why is it that people in Port Harcourt are acting the way they do? What happened in Port Harcourt? And for folks who hate the idea of history, they're going to make the exact same mistakes, and their children will probably make the same mistakes, but hopefully it's going to be contained in their family houses and not in Yoruba land as a whole. Maybe in Agbole. Because I don't know how you have examples of what has happened in the past, but you just want to go and enter that fire because you want to prove that you like multiculturalism. One of the major problems of England today is that word multiculturalism. It became something that was celebrated in the 1960s. Everywhere you went in the 60s, it was a buzzword, multiculturalism. Now they are angry about it. But here's the point. Is Lagos against the idea of multiculturalism? No. Because if that were the case, you have the Yoruba people complaining, the Edo, Benin people complaining, Yoruba, what's this? Ishan, they will be complaining because there are many. Ishan will be complaining, Hausa will be complaining, Fulani will be complaining, Tiv will be complaining, Idoma will be complaining, because there are many groups, right? Ibibi will be complaining, Efik will be complaining, Angas will be complaining, everybody in Lagos will be complaining, but no other ethnic group complains. What does that tell a sane person? That the issue is not about Lagos, it's about the person who is crying wolf. And you, because you want to prove that you're educated and that you are detribalized, you will say things like, Lagos is historically Yoruba, but it has gone through evolution. Who are you? It has gone through evolution. And it is going through evolution now. So, where hasn't gone through evolution? And I've said this several times. As a Yoruba person, you've got to understand this. The concept of cosmopolitanism is not new to Yoruba land. It began in the 11th century. It's been more than 1,000 years. We have people from different cultures coming into our land at different points in time in our cities. We started building cities more than 1,000 years ago. And in those cities, you had people from different ethnicities, not just within Nigeria, but even outside what we now call Nigeria. Folks from Mali, folks from, what's this far place? Senegal. If I take a break like that, it's because there are irritants coming to the comment section. Folks from Senegal were coming into our land. We were building cities of 70,000, 120,000 people. They came, but guess what? They assimilated into the prevailing culture because they are human beings. If you're a human being, that's what you do. If you're a goat, you will think that the world must change to adapt to you. The world must adapt to you because you have two horns on your head and you are from another continent or planet. They became part of the people. Some of them rose and became something. Wait, I'm not even talking about 1,000 years ago. It happened literally just a little over 100 years ago in parts of Yoruba land. And I've seen one. I've actually interviewed somebody whose family got into Yoruba land in the 1970s. And today they are considered Yoruba, taken in by a particular family. I don't want to go into the details. But they didn't have to become all this, we have right, we have right. Anybody who goes around beating the chair and shouting, we have right, we must all own this place together, is an animal. No human being that comes from a culture that is civilized, that's even developed, goes all over the place shouting that. But you're a Yoruba person, you are the one they will push to go and say these things. Oh, are we not open? Okay, what does it mean to be open? What does it mean? Because the person you are fighting for openness for, in his homeland, they're not even open. I mean, if they do better than me now, they challenge me, saying can become like you, it go make sense. You know, even they do up to 10%, waiting they do. You still tell me say can open up. Waiting I won't do again. It's not the same region where a couple of days ago, Anambra indigenous in Enugu. You know what? I'll find that one. 1 second. I think I don't know what happened to us as Yoruba people. Some of us are just not very, we're not very, it is well with us. Where is that thing? Yes. Peter Obi, Peter Mba, that's the governor of Enugu State. The governor of Enugu State says, today I received a delegation of Anambra State indigenes living in Enugu, led by Dubem Uloba, Esquire. A governor, imagine, I cannot think about it. I can't even fathom the possibility of Osun State indigenes in Oyo State, or Oyo State indigenes in Lagos State going to see the governor. Where your state is like, I feel just throw stone enter your state. Imagine, just think about it. Imagine Ekiti State's indigenes going to Ondo State governor to say hello. This is the person, this is people from here are the ones telling you to open up. Why not try and be open like I am? And then we can have conversations. But by the way, you are not going to be as open as, because you can't even do it to people within that region. I don't want to use the plot that they used to call it. Within that region, you have not done it within that region. You still have, I can't think of Kogi indigenes in Osun State. I can't. It will be weird. If you start mentioning Kinikon State, I'm thinking like maybe they are from the north, and they will not even use, and if you notice, they will not use state. They'll use ethnicity, ethnic identity, the Hausa community here. But neighboring states have indigenous association. You are going to teach Yoruba people how to be open. And you Yoruba that they are going to use, let me say something to you. They used people like you in the 1940s. It was 1948. Zeke looked around and thought, you know what, I've got to deal with these Yoruba people who are trying to establish something. So I've said this several times here. Yoruba people organized, they created something in 45 in London. It was called Egbe Modudua. That's people like, led by Papa Awolowo, people like Oni Akerele, Abedu Akerele, a lot of them in the UK, they created Egbe Modudua in 45. In 48, they established it in Lagos, inaugurated it in Ife, and then established it in Lagos. Zeke had a problem with it. So what did Zeke do? Zeke looked for Yoruba people. He gathered them and he said, Egbe Modudua is a fascist movement, the fascist organization that must be. The words they used, he said they should attack them in the updale, downdale. In other words, whether they're in the valley or in the mountains, they should go to their houses at home and abroad. They should attack them because that fascist movement must die. He said this must be the battle cry. Zeke said that in 1948. Guess what he did? He hated the idea of Egbe Modudua, so he organized another group of Yoruba people and called them Yoruba Federal Union. And they met and they called themselves representative of Yoruba people. Their descendants are still here with us today. And I'm not just talking about their biological descendants. I'm saying their ideological descendants, like someone like this one. Open where? This is what gives specifically Igbo people the temerity to just say, oh, we do this thing in Lagos. And by the way, how come no other person does it? You know why? Because they are cultured. No other group does it because every other group is definitely clearly more cultured. Enumidegba, I can say it because we've been here together. We've read the book where Igbo intellectuals said that they have superior culture and civilization more than any other group in Nigeria. And I'm looking for that culture. I don't buy torchlight since they look for them. I don't find them. I don't check all kind of books. Say wait the. I don't find them. How can you have a superior culture and just be moving anyhow anyway? They only even says on it. If you are Yoruba, please, I beg, read, study. What you can do is you cannot be hateful towards others. You can't, say, oh, push them out of the place and all those things. But don't be all this PC nonsense of being politically correct where you are now losing what's yours in the name of pandering to another group that will never pander to their own neighbors of the same stock. Let alone you. Yoruba land is open for business. It's been open for business before Igbos knew anything called. Igbos did not get to Lagos until the 1930s. The first that were coming in through working with the British, they were here and there, one here, two here, three here. When they really came into Lagos was in the 1930s. You know, people reach 100 years. Again, this pandering is just stupid. And the person will this one just off me, say the governor they received delegate from Enugu State, the indigenes of Enugu State. Do you know the journey from Enugu State to Anambra State? You will take that journey within Ibadan. Forget your state. Tobacco Lalupon, to have my day do, or to cover distance, and you've covered the distance. I'm saying from Enugu State to Anambra State, if you finish that trip within Ibadan, or you have indigene of a neighboring state visiting, and they are both Igbo. If you're Yoruba, please, I'm just begging you. Your duty is to love everybody. Your duty is to be fair towards others. Your duty is to be compassionate even, but your duty is not to lose what your father gave you. Something that you are holding in trust for your children. Don't lose it because of stupidity. And the person telling you, do it. We need more thing in Yoruba land. We need more thing in Yoruba land doesn't care for you. And don't tell me you're trying to build a Kinikon, UK, London. Every city has its uniqueness. Kuala Lumpur is not like London. Paris is not like New York. If you are French, why? I mean, most of us are Nigerians. Why are the French people against what's happening in Paris right now? What are they saying about the dynamics that are changing? What are we talking about? Why is it that Dubai, even though the Emiratis in Dubai are literally less than 10% of the entire city? If you think I'm lying, please fact check me. More than 90% of people living in Dubai are not Emiratis. They're expatriates. How come they are not allowed to even become citizens, let alone get into politics? And if you say, oh, but Dubai is in UAE, that's a country. Yoruba is a nation. See, Dubai is a nation. That's why it's like that. Sorry, UAE is a nation. That's why they are trying to protect the interests of the indigenes and the people of the land. Yoruba is a nation. Nigeria is not a nation. And it will not become a nation. And it is not a problem. Nigeria is like the UK. It has many nations within it. Each nation will tell you what will happen within their space. Not you flying rivers and streams, going to other people's places and telling them, I want rights. How many left have you given people in the last 10 years? You're looking for rights all over the place. Rather. Anyway, somebody in Kenya who, for some reason, maybe is smarter than many of these Yoruba clowns. Lagos is Yoruba land, but it has gone through evolution. Can anybody give me any Yoruba town that has not gone through evolution? Any? Is Yoruba land, but it has gone through evolution. Okay, the people you are supporting, how come there's no place where they are coming from that has gone through any such evolution? Is it that is there like a conspiracy in the spiritual realm that says that this particular region must have nothing like that? Because there's Port Harcourt in the south. Listen, let's even talk about this for a second. Think about ethnicities in Nigeria. If you go up north in Kaduna, up north, the Kano Reserve, Maiduguri, the Hausas can boast of, and of course, and other ethnic groups within Kaduna State can boast of Kaduna, they can boast of Zaria, they can talk about Sokoto, they can talk about all the cities. They can talk about Kano, which has been a cosmopolitan city centuries before Nigeria was discovered or named. You come to the southwest, you see examples all over the place, whether it's Lagos or Ibadan or Abeokuta or Ogbomoso. So and I'm trying to stick to like 4 examples in each region. When you get to the south, amongst different ethnicities, in the Equatorial are Port Harcourt, you go to Ibibio, you have Uyo. Wait, though. Uyo was not developed with money from Lagos, so because it's not only Lagos, deal. Anyway, there's Uyo, there's Wari, the Shekiri, our brothers. We have to be saying it proudly now because some people need to know. So, how come when you get to the Southeast, you don't have any example? Why? Is that what does that say of your group as a people? That you have work to do to make it better, or that you have nothing to do at home, but you should just be constituting nuisance all over the country? Every region is blessed. But if you don't think you are blessed, that's okay. But don't come to my place and tell me you're the one blessing my place when where you're coming from is not looking like what you are claiming to have done in my space. It's just ridiculous. And Yoruba people, this is actually more for us than anybody because there's no way we have to reduce the numbers of people like this in Yoruba land. Not by harming anybody, no violence, but we have to teach ourselves to appreciate who we are and to not get lost in this maze of, because you have to be very, very, and you know what, while we are speaking Oyinbo, while we are speaking English and waxing lyrical and trying to philosophize, the person who won't take your land, don't take your land, come out, finish. See, that's not what you're talking about. This is 21st century. Okay.